All right, welcome everybody to the June 17th, 2026 Plastow Planning Board meeting. Shay, could you call the roll, please?
Me?
Sure, Charlene, call the roll, please. Somebody from that corner, call the roll.
Richard Anthony.
Here.
Karen Robinson. Here. Dan Kane. Here. Rich Leclerc.
Here.
Nolan Pelletier.
Here.
Bill Coy.
Yeah.
Liz Costa. Here. Shay Raker. Ray Maker, sorry, and myself. And Steve Keach is here also with us.
Excellent. All right, so for purposes of this meeting, the following non-planning board members will be participating. Elizabeth Costa, she's the alternate for the ex officio member of the Board of Selectmen. Charlene will be, our minute taker, will be participating, and Shay Raymaker. And we have Steve Keach, our consulting engineer at the planning board, will be participating tonight. All right. You should have two sets of minutes available to you, one from June 6th and one from June 3rd.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from June 3rd.
Do I have a second? Second. All right. Any discussion on the minutes from June 3rd? All in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. Abstain? No? So 500. All right. We have planning board minutes from the site walk on June 6th.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from June 6th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Right. Clear, second. Any discussion on the site walk minutes? All right. All in favor? Aye. Abstain?
I abstain.
Great. And then no nos. Okay. So 420, or 402, sorry.
302.
302. All right. So 302. All right. On the agenda, we have public hearings for PB 2605 continued from March 18th, 2026. And I think, for purposes of this public hearing, we're also going to, we have to accept it as complete first. PB 2618. Should be a motion of some kind for completeness. All right. I move to accept the application for a conditional use permit at 63 Forest Street, tax map 48, lot 3, as detailed in the legal notice for planning board application 2618 is complete. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
For discussion purposes, since these two applications, this particular one, 26-18 has to do with 2605, so we'll conduct the public hearing concurrently with it. So, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, so 500. All right. Mr. Couillard.
Hello again.
Hello, hello. And, just for context, there should have been, I think, there was an email with some attachments that looks like that you'd provided today, a couple hours before the meeting.
I did.
Okay.
I apologize for that.
All right, no problem.
We're trying to put this thing together.
All right. And then also, again, for just context, in terms of the current application, PB 2605, as of today, have there been new set of plans submitted to our engineering consultant, Mr.
Yes.
Keish? So it was today, was it? Or
Yes.
Okay, right. So obviously,
yes.
okay.
I
Right.
just enrolled them just now.
You did
So,
it completely.
so you had a couple minutes before you came up here.
Yeah, I'm
so-
totally good to go, Richard.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
No, so I'm just
I get it.
providing context of where we're at. So, and I guess give an overview what it is that, where we're at, and then we can have and we have our technical consultant here, so we can have a discussion with respect to this application.
Ready for me?
I'm ready for you.
So, we had the site walk, on the 6th, and, I feel like Phil and I thought that we did enough to, have the road, reconsider that, application for a waiver on, the 255. But I've come up with a thought process. Forgive me, you guys probably figured it out by now. I'm not an attorney, but I'll try and get through this the best I can in order. So in working with Phil after that site meeting, I submitted this plan for Stephen that I hope we don't have to use. I think I have a solution for everybody. I think that Dan's concern about the left, traveling east on Forest and turning left into Hoyt Farm Road seems to be the largest point of contention for everybody. So if we can get to a point where, let me get through this, then we have plans and everything we talk about. If we can get to a point where the board thinks they can support the waiver for Coles Way going into Hoyt Farm Road, and we do not have to take any of the Hoyt family property to accomplish that by going out to that left hook, then the Hoyt family would be willing to give us property at the corner of Forest Street so that I could move Forest Street 100 feet east.
Hoyt Farm Road.
Hoyt Farm Road east, so that coming into Forest Street, you'd have that 380 line of sight coming down Forest Street and taking a left into a new proposed Hoyt Farm Road would be in complete compliance, and I think that's the point of contention for safety for everybody here. So there's a lot of issues with getting that accomplished, but we're going to try and go over it, I guess, tonight.
Okay, so just by way of context, the plans that you submitted tonight are predicated on the full compliance of the site
Full
plan
compliance plan.
regulations there.
Correct.
So the 75-degree,
Correct.
okay.
So step one, it would be determining whether or not you guys could support a waiver for that. And if you can support a waiver for that, then we can take the property that we're going to use from the Hoyt family and transfer it up to the corner of the property and develop a plan that moves Hoyt Farm Road down approximately 100 feet. We've got permission from the Hoyts to do that. And we'll get rid of the existing Hoyt Farm entrance and move it down so it's in complete compliance and I think safety for everybody.
Okay.
There's a couple other caveats to that too, but the hurdle is the waiver.
So I think, before, I'm not going to speak for the board, but, but whatever solution you're proposing, we're obviously going to want it, reviewed.
I completely understand.
And then-
I'm not
and then-
expecting anything tonight.
Right. And then we're going to want to see, sort of the back and forth, whether or not it's, I guess we'd have to see what it looks like before we contemplated a waiver of some kind. So,
Well, I hope to give you enough
Okay.
information tonight.
right.
And now, when you say down, you mean to the east,
To the
correct?
east, yes.
Yeah, to the east. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Keach, at any point during the presentation, you feel free to, just sort of provide context for us as.
I looked at the drawings that we were given tonight,
Okay.
sheet 14 in particular, and that is a geometry that was discussed in an accompanying memo that Mr. Christensen had prepared that I hope the board has as well, that I think Shay's office may have received earlier this afternoon as well. I did have a chance to look at that. But in terms of geometry, this alternative design that we see on sheet 14 of the current drawings appears as if it would satisfy all requirements of the subdivision regulations as presented.
All right, could we see what sheet 14 is? I don't see.
Somebody could bring that up, that would be outstanding.
14, huh? Let's see.
No,
That's existing conditions. Sheet 14.
Can you scroll down?
Just have to find it.
Also, that second tab on the computer that's open is the correspondence that we received this afternoon. So if
okay,
that's easier to read, you can feel free to open that.
that's close enough, right?
Yep.
So we see how Coles Way, through the reverse curve coming in the northerly direction, introduces a curve to the left and intersects with the present curvilinear alignment of Hoyt Farm Road at a point that is effectively radial at center line to the existing center line of this center line intersects with the existing center line of Hoyt Farm Road radially. And what that does for us is not only does it satisfy the regulation, but the purpose of the regulation. And that is that these two lanes here, vehicles, particularly a vehicle coming out stop condition, is at a location perpendicular or normal to the edge of the travel way at Hoyt Farm Road. That maximizes sight distance. It's conventional for motorists that may not be familiar with the intersection to travel it. I know it is preferred, that geometry is preferred by Dan Garlington. And Phil has, Mr. Christensen has delivered an illustration of what something that completely conforms with, I understand the consternation on the part of the applicant to do it. It does involve some taking of some additional land from David Hoyt's property. And one of the things that it also necessitates is in this area here, it's unclear from this particular drawing, but there are other drawings in the plan set that I think we absorb an additional, 1,300 square feet of approximately fill of wetland impact.
That's correct.
That does not appear to be illustrated on this particular sheet, but is elsewhere in the plan set. So I think what Mr. Couillard is providing you is with some options here, right? Obviously, Bill, could you slide that down? You have the ability to do that. Yeah. So if I understood your presentation correct, Al, you would be looking to potentially consider an alignment of this nature for.
Yeah, we actually have a plan for that.
Okay, great.
Phil has to put it's not a plan, it's a sketch.
It's a sketch. Okay, and that's probably what it should be at this point.
Just 1 second. Should be.
Right. So the
It's not
original
here.
one that we saw in 14 is basically sort of the canonical plan that would satisfy the site plan.
Right. I mean, as you recall from the
Just take-
outset, Phil, could you go back to
You've
that
got this
memo
thing.
that you just had, please?
Sure.
What was initially submitted with the application,
Right.
the initial design?
1 second.
And I think you want to go the other way.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I'm trying.
That was the original design.
There we go.
Yeah.
And
Blow
you
that-
see
blow that
this
up.
area right in here. I want to set aside the 75 degrees and, the 250-foot radius. Those are design requirements that are part of our regulations, right? But how does it work? How is it safe? What is the motorist experience? What is the maintenance implications? These skewed intersections like this, you almost think of yourself coming onto a highway, at an on-ramp, right?
Yep.
You've got, regardless of where the crown is or where the paint striping is, the motorists are going to want to go in a convenient straight line, right? Somebody coming and making a turn in this direction is going to want to scoot across that, not using this pavement. And that's why we don't do that, right? Obviously the design engineer here had to work within the right of way that he had, right? And that's why we got this geometry. And as I pointed out in my initial review letters, it doesn't work within the regulations. Mr. Christensen did his level best to make it work, right? And I don't know if this is the first or the second iteration, but the second iteration, he got it as close as he possibly could within that right of way that was available to him, and brought it as close as we could get. If you slide that down. And that is the geometry that you see here in schematic form that the waiver requests that were submitted are based on, right? There's a centerline radius here that the original design had, 37 feet or something like that, where 250 is required. And then the angle of the intersection was somewhere in the vicinity of 49 degrees, where a minimum of 75 is required, right? So to try to work out something that was reasonable, Shay facilitated a meeting one day where Al, Phil, myself, her, and Dan Garlington convert. And the geometry that you see here, which I don't want to speak definitively for Dan, but based on the remarks he made at the meeting that day, I think this is what he was looking for. And it makes it easy for me to advise you, because guess what? I believe that would comply with our local geometric design requirements, which have served you well, right? Now, I hadn't heard about the option of changing the geometry of Hoyt Farm Road and the approach to Forest Street until just a few minutes ago, right? I think that's something that if it's got legs, you might want to have them explore. I like the idea, because as we know, the existing intersection of Hoyt and Forest isn't great. It's adequate for the volume of traffic that uses it today. Now, the proposed land development project would add 29 dwelling units. That would probably be modeled under ITE, or Institute of Transportation Engineers, Land Use Code 215. And that would give us somewhere around average daily traffic volume of somewhere around 200 vehicles per day that would be added to the intersection of Hoyt Farm and Forest. And that sounds like a big number, but with 10%, 12% of that happening in each during the AM and PM peak hours, from a numerical standpoint, we're to the right of the decimal point. So this whole conversation about transportation here is all about geometry and safety, in my view, right? And, our focus to date is been with this geometry of the Coles Way, Hoyt Farm Road intersection, and how to make that as safe as possible. I got to tell you, if nothing else ever happened, I love Phil Christensen's design that I just saw tonight, for that. And I think that that will work. And I think if it is possible to move Hoyt Farm Road 100 feet to the east and get the geometry that looks like what Phil is showing you right there, I think it could even be better. I mean, that's kind of going above and beyond for them. So I probably talked a lot, Richard. Did I answer any questions, or did I just create
like it.
more?
Much better.
No, I think you spoke to a lot of what we want. Obviously, we want to make that intersection work. We want it to be safe. But I think concerns of, we'll let the public speak at some point. But, the concern that we had is also the intersection on Forest Street. So, moving or shifting Hoyt Farm Road 100 feet, is that, just without, again, you've seen it just now, but is that going to sort of remediate in some way, some line of sight?
It would have to.
Yeah.
It would just absolutely
It
have
would
to.
do it.
I travel that road
Yeah.
a dozen times a day. It certainly would.
Again, part of
Yeah. that
the
definitely-
reality here is, we know that 95% of the vehicles that are going to go through whichever of those two intersections, both of those intersections with project build out, are going to be passenger-sized vehicles. And it's going to be the same people every day. Those aren't the people I worry about. The people I worry about are the delivery
Workers.
vehicles.
Delivery.
Everywhere we go, there's an Amazon van coming in. And you have different drivers and you have different people that aren't familiar.
Yeah.
And to have that little hook geometry of Coles into Hoyt, and to have the other little existing, as Dan points out, hook on Hoyt that at the approach to Forest, those, from my perspective as a professional engineer, invite lane encroachment. Vehicles aren't where they're supposed to be because they don't know where they're supposed to be if they're not familiar with the intersection. Dan Garlington will have a whole different set of reasons that relate to maintenance that he could talk to you about. But everything I've seen that this folks have brought you tonight, I think we have a good, and we may even have a better.
Just to piggyback on because we opened 2618, and that's a waiver to encroach upon the wetlands. How would changing the Hoyt Road, moving it 100 feet east, how would that affect your?
So this is going to be a complicated thing if we can make this the way it should be. The Hoyt family does not want to give up the square footage on the hook from Coles Way and the square footage from Hoyt Farm Road to Forest Street. That's why I said the waiver is so important. So that's why if we get the waiver on the first plan, well, when we talked about it on the site walk, when I talked to the board, and we can show you on these plans that I understand this configuration that Steve likes, I understand why. But at that point where Coles Way meets Hoyt Farm Road, you end up in the same spot if you're in a vehicle. The stop sign's going to be within 5 feet of each other on either one of those plans. So I don't see the value in the dog leg left there, going out, taking David's land and going around it. So that's why I got this late. I'm going to apologize. All the information I got you tonight was late. I'm sorry about that. I do have this letter that Phil did a great analysis and a great argument for the waiver from Coles Way entering Hoyt Farm Road. And I can read it aloud, or I can put it on the board, or if you guys have all read it, I did get it to Shay, No, I
4 o'clock,
haven't
3
even seen
o'clock. Hoping maybe somebody would have a chance to read it.
In summary, it's just that the two rules that matter from the planning board regs are the 250-foot radius curve and the 75-degree, no less than 75 degrees at the intersection. The reason for the rules is sight distance. So if a curve is too tight, you can't see far enough for the speed you're traveling at to see approaching cars. And similarly, at intersections, you don't, if it comes in too sharp, you may be looking back trying to see people and it gets difficult. But I think one of the things when we're out there, you could see that you almost have unlimited visibility onto Hoyt Farm Road where this would come out. Can you just point to that there, Steve?
Right at the intersection?
Yeah, right at the intersection. That's just, which is where we were standing. You can look up Hoyt Farm Road and you can see down to Forest Street. And if you look at the property corner there where the curve and the straight line meet, if you go up to the other drawing, it's a little different in color, but that property corner is right there. And you see that where we enter is the same place you would enter if you did the 250-foot radius curve. So when you look at that, you say, well, that complies with the rules and regulations, no waivers required. But does it really change your visibility at that intersection? I don't think it does. And it means you're filling in wetlands, cutting more trees, and encroaching more on Hoyt's property. I think, as was pointed out in
I think it's good.
Dan Kane's submission to the board, the biggest problem you have is really that intersection. So.
And you're talking about the intersection of Forest and.
Right. So from my viewpoint is Hoyt Farm Road exists, and as a planning board, if we submit a plan that complies, or if we submit a plan that you grant the waivers for, you would have to approve that regardless of this Hoyt Farm Road, Forest Street intersection, because that's the way the law is set up, because we'd be tying into a town road.
So.
But Al looked at it and reading the letter that was submitted, he thought, well, why don't we try to straighten out Hoyt Farm Road to get rid of that dangerous intersection?
Right.
But at the same time, why do we need to put the big curve in other than to meet the rules and regulations as written?
Because it's still more safe.
So that's what we're saying, either one.
So is the waiver then, based on whatever configuration you're going to propose, does the waiver need to be sort of adjusted to take into account the change of assumptions that are happening on 2605 here?
For
The waiver relates to the original alignment, correct, Phil?
That's correct. And then you do need the conditional use permit if we do the big curve, because then we're filling wetlands. So we have to go through that business.
All right.
I like it the way it is.
I'm not, okay, I'm not, if everyone else is tracking, but I guess what I'm saying is that, this waiver request as it stands is predicated on.
Straight road.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yes.
what you, on page 5 is what, if you want to,
Geez.
5 of this packet, this is the one we just got tonight, so it should be in your folders. So on page 5 is what you're seeking the waiver for. Page 6 is the compliant one. You would comply with the current regulations, but what you want is 5, and in return for 5, you're going to, the swale you are gonna use to meet regulations, you're gonna swap with the Hoyt's land on the far side to make Hoyt Road meet.
Right. But the one we wanted is the first one that's called Coles Way intersection.
Do you know what page that
Page
was?
3.
Page 3.
See, that was like getting rid of both.
See the title, Coles Way intersection design.
That's still got the curve.
Yeah.
And that's just.
That was our original one. That's the one we,
Right.
5 was original.
Changed.
no, and then when we got to 4 was a modification after working with Steve, and we discussed it back and forth, and we,
I guess what I'm saying is that whatever you submit, if you're going to go with, a modified shift 100 feet, are you going to modify the waiver request? Yes or no?
we would, yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure you'd need the waiver of that.
You don't need the waiver.
Okay.
request, yes. One of the things, though, about adjusting that road is the procedures we have to go through to get there. So if you approve the plan, the next step is to design that roadway. And
The realignment.
since it's already a public way, we don't know the procedures. I don't think it's a straight subdivision submission. I don't know. It's a town way, and
That's what happens there.
I don't know how you do that.
Shay, any thoughts on just sort of hypothesizing about what we would do in the
I like the
future
plan.
if we went that way?
I like that.
The board can require on and off-site improvements made at the expense of the subdivider. So that can be discussed as part of the approval for the subdivision.
Agreed.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to
Yeah.
explicate on, or?
So what I'd be asking if the board were to entertain the waiver request from Coles Way to Hoyt Farm Road, that would trigger me starting the process of trying to be able to develop the realignment of Hoyt Farm Road and Forest Street. So that's obviously an extra expense. So if we can buy this waiver issue, what I'd be hoping is that the boards could support, and I think the only way I could accomplish this is through a variance through the Board of Appeals. A waiver. Right now if I took away all the unsafe parts and got a plan you could approve, I am 18,000 square feet short of 30 units. So if I filed with the Board of Appeals, I've reviewed the 5 criteria and I believe we could meet them all. And I could go to 18,000 square feet short of 30 units instead of 29. And I don't think that one extra unit would matter in the big scheme of things at all. But that would fund all the realignment and process of the couple hundred feet of, getting rid of Hoyt Farm Road and switching it over 100 feet or so to be in compliance with the 280-foot line of sight on that left-hand turn. So a couple of things, I'd be looking for the board to talk about and approve the waiver, and then try and talk about whether or not you could support just through a letter. I think if the planning board and maybe Liz's board and the highway safety board could have some correspondence with the Board of Appeals that everyone believes it's in the best interest of the town of Plastow to supply this waiver for the 30 units, then everybody wins.
No.
All right. Anyone
I'm
else?
not sure we could actually do that, but,
I don't think it's
Well-
lawful.
yeah.
Why, you don't think you just give your
Typically,
opinion to the board?
Well, typically the ZBA functions as, they're the judiciary,
Right.
effectively quasi-judiciary, if you will. Yeah, the idea of, we certainly could suggest as it relates to what the matter is before us, that we like it, we appreciate it.
Yeah, that's all I'm
But
asking.
in terms of actually writing a letter, it's unlikely, I just don't think we can do that.
Well, maybe, Dan, would that be something you could ask Rich to ask town council if that's?
Yeah, no, I don't.
We
think
could
that's a
always,
problem.
we could always ask,
Yeah.
but I somehow suspect that.
I'm not issuing a ruling. I'm just giving you
No,
my
I know.
opinion.
I get it.
But
So,
Yeah, it's an improvement for the benefit of the town. It's not an improvement for the benefit of Al.
I'll just tell you on a personal level, I like it, so it's not, you don't have to spend
I
a
thought
lot
you
of
would,
time
yeah.
convincing me. But
I
I'm
like
just
that.
giving you process wise, I'm not sure.
Well, we can cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm fine. If we can get over the waiver tonight, and I think, I spoke to Shay about this earlier, I think it's okay for you guys to approve a waiver without approving the plan.
No, I've never heard of that.
You think that's right, Shay?
No. No.
I mean, that would be up to the board. I didn't see anything in the RSAs that I ran through
Okay.
that specified whether or not you could move just on a waiver request.
All right, let's do this.
Typically, if it doesn't say you can, you can't.
Right,
Right.
let's, from a process point of view, let's let's open it up to, if no one else has anything specific to talk about, with respect to this application, I'd probably invite the public to kind of weigh in, and then we can talk about, procedure-wise, how we move forward. Okay, unless you're,
I still have a little more.
okay, well, let me know, and then,
So this is all if things go well. So what we could do is if for whatever reason you guys approve the waiver, we design the plan, we get to the Board of Appeals, and the Board of Appeals deny it, I'm still would be able to offer you guys, if you approve the waiver, we'll move the road inside the right of way, and then the Hoyt family will give that land on this plan at the point that would allow the town in the future to have the land to move Hoyt Farm Road if they could, get a grant or whatever at some point in time in the near future.
so why couldn't we just have you submit, a complete plan predicated on what it is that you want?
Right.
All right, have it reviewed, and then the board would consider whatever waivers are appropriate within our purview. Because I'm uncomfortable personally with
I am too.
sort of a piecemeal approach to waivers,
So do you
especially
think-
when we haven't had anything.
If we submitted a plan with a design to move Hoyt Farm Road, could you folks approve that plan as part of this subdivision plan?
Right there.
Well,
Approve that plan, right?
what,
The one where you're moving 100 feet.
yes,
Okay.
I think what you're saying is you want to see
I
that.
want to see something and then have it reviewed, and then we would have those discussions about what.
But you want to see that as part of the subdivision plan?
It would be an off-site improvement, Phil.
Okay, so it's part of the subdivision, so, and you have the authority to approve that change?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
I mean,
just confirming.
rather than just sort of, again,
So
need to kind of make it more
I'm
concrete.
I'm dealing with other parties, and this is
Yes.
why I'm asking this. That if this plan is approved, then I'm not going to be able to do anything with the intersection of Forest Street. The Hoyt family is just flat out not going to do both, I'm told.
Huh?
So the Hoyt family doesn't want to give up the land necessary for this plan, which is in complete compliance, and we don't need a waiver for it.
Right.
But if we get a waiver for that, then they'll donate the land on the front corner as opposed to donating the land
Not the
here.
same plan, then.
So I can't do both of these things, is what I'm
But you
telling
can submit a plan, though, right?
We can submit a plan.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. So let's have a plan. Let's
No,
review
yeah,
it.
I
and then
figured
we
I'd
can-
have to
and then we
submit a
can-
plan. I'm just trying to,
Yeah,
Read the
I
room.
understand. I understand.
Al, I think what Richard is saying is the board needs a proposal,
right.
not a bunch of moving parts.
Right.
They want to read the
Exactly
entire
what it is.
book
Yep.
from cover to cover and then
Yep.
write you a book report.
I mean, conceptually, it sounds like a solution but it just needs to be proofed out. And, the public might want, see it and comment on it. Again, they have to have something to be able to speak to. So
And of course, Dan, don't forget.
the highway, a lot of people need to weigh in and say that, it could be a great solution that everyone likes.
But
But
Steve, in
we
your
need to see it.
conversations with Dan, he liked this 100-foot better, right? If it was
Likes
moved
this.
I've never spoke to him about that. I hadn't heard about it myself until tonight.
Right.
But I will tell you that
This plan here.
this geometry here we didn't talk about the intersection of Hoyt and Forest.
Yeah.
But we certainly talked at length about this geometry here.
Brings it out the right place.
And unless I'm totally out to lunch and as far as my recollections of our conversation, that Shay and I had with Dan and the applicant and Phil, this, I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, is what Dan Garlington would prefer. And he has his own reasons. I won't tell you what his reasons are. I have my own reasons for supporting this. You know, I look at our regulations as not just a good idea, right? Or a wish list, you know. Are they absolute? Absolutely not. But as I said earlier, this geometry here forces vehicles to approach this intersection at a normal angle, right? And to Mr. Christensen's point, yes, that does facilitate optimization of sight distance. It does, right? If it was skewed, you got some good sight distance. But again, it's like coming on an on-ramp, right? You see in front of you, you know, is there somebody coming behind me? I don't know. If I'm in the angle at the wrong angle, right? Then the same is with this coming in this direction. You want to turn into here. You know, that's a normal situation. Right. What happens when this is at a skew, like what the waiver request version is, people want to cut through the intersection, and you know, it creates arbitrary turning movements, arbitrary use, rather than our convention of intersection, of coming to a perpendicular to a stop condition, stopping, doing what we're supposed to do. You know, and it just adds some randomness to the operation of it. Now, again, if you know, you look at the plan, the actual subdivision plan, it looks like, you know, you got a dozen lots or something. Big deal. But when you take the reality is you got 29 units on those. Each one of those is going to contribute roughly 7 vehicles per day. Yeah. So you got roughly 200 vehicles that you're adding to that intersection that will be using that. You know, I think it speaks for itself, right?
If,
you know, and then we go to the waiver standard. What is the waiver standard, right? The waiver standard is statutory. It's RSA 674-36, right? There's 2 waiver criteria. You can fulfill the requirements of that statute, and it's reiterated on our own subdivision regulations. You don't have to dig too far for it. It all comes down to spirit and intent. Does the waiver satisfy the spirit and intent of the regulations? Well, that's up for you folks to answer. I'm not, you know, it's not, my opinion doesn't matter. It's your opinion that matters. And it's the argument that the applicant can put forward to you to demonstrate that the outcome of a waiver doesn't compromise the spirit and intent of the regulations. I don't know how you make that argument.
So what Phil is arguing, what we are arguing about that waiver is that, I should probably read this aloud. I'll put it on the board. We're at 49% instead of 75. So that's the degrees instead of 75 on the.
And just for context, which waiver are you looking at? Just so that we, you know.
The most important waiver is the 255.
no, the 75 degree.
No. The article itself. It's Article 7, Section 235-32. That's what we're requesting a waiver for, because it's supposed to be 75, and we're at 49.
All right, and just you know, for the board's orientation, we're talking about, you know, just conceptually a waiver request for, I believe, is that correct?
Correct.
So,
I would like to note for the board that the waiver request specifies having a 37-foot radius where a 250-foot radius is required. It doesn't talk about, as the one that was submitted doesn't talk about the degrees as well. So having it at 49 degrees instead of 75 degrees. Both of these standards are in the same section, but I think the language for both would need to be included.
Right, so this waiver, if and when we were to consider it, would need to be updated, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So like I said, I think order of operations should be to have a complete
I get,
set of plans. And then when we have it, it's been reviewed, then we can move to the next.
so.
I think the options are a straight road with Hoyt Farm Road adjustment to Forest Street,
Right.
or a curved road without the adjustment to Forest Street.
Which is more important is it's what it's going to come down to.
That'd be the two options, and we'll decide which we'll submit.
Correct.
Okay.
It's the first
I
one.
mean, I think that makes sense too.
Yeah, you
don't
gotta
have
have a
anything.
proposal.
Right, we don't have a proposal yet, so.
Right.
Does anyone on the board have any questions? Mr. Pelletier?
Are both choices going to be?
Did you want to say something before I cut you off?
Yeah, that's what I was going to address what Karen was asking. I can't do both. I can't do a proposal for both.
Right.
So how do we make the decision?
I think we need to have a proposal in front of
For
us. I mean, I'm not,
Right.
I'm not an engineer, right? So whatever one that you want to move forward with and in interacting with our consultant will be,
Well,
comes out the other end.
I would like to maybe address something Steve said earlier that I don't think is 100% accurate, that his opinion doesn't matter. So can we discuss what the waiver would entail and see if, maybe Stephen, would you give you might entertain the waiver under these circumstances if you look
Well,
at the
again,
plan?
I
Because
think
your
the board-
opinion does matter. I mean, that's why you're here.
Well, thank you. That said, there's, the geometrics of the situation. I'm going to have a hard time supporting the waiver to go with your original design. For the reasons that we talked about when we met and for the reasons that were reiterated by Dan Carlington, right? And with the geometry that Phil was able to make work to demonstrate that it is workable, albeit picking up some wetland impact, albeit seeking additional contribution from David as far as right of way. That's on paper right here, right? That doesn't require a waiver, and it is what Dan and I were advocating. I really have a hard time walking away from that, where Phil has done a good job in demonstrating that it works and can be made to work.
So does,
I understand where you're coming from as far as you desire for the waiver. But again, to take everything in proper context, this is a public safety thing, right?
I'm trying to
And
create a
then- I
better
know.
public safety.
But let's
by
take
fixing
away
Forest Street.
but again, if that's what the proposal is, advance a proposal and
Can't do both.
do one. And that's what Richard, I think,
Well, I
is
have
asking
one.
you
I
to
have
do.
one in front of you. If that's what you and the board are telling me, that you don't want me to receive a waiver and you want to, I'll proceed with the plan that's in front of me. That complies. I don't need a waiver. Then I don't have to do anything to
I would like,
Hoyt Farm Road to Forest Street. I
we
mean,
could
that's what-
add, we could
that's what you
pull,
guys want.
That's certainly an option.
we can informally pull the board, but I think, but I want to have a completed application in front of our engineer, and we get feedback from it, and then we can discuss everything within that
We
context.
just got it. He said he supports the plan that's in front of him, that I've submitted.
Well, again, I'd like to take
He
a
needs
look
time
at
to
it
review
in
it.
totality, but conceptually, yes, I do.
Yeah, I think this is, if you're saying that conceptually speaking,
Why don't
we
we
should
just
move
vote on
forward with you submitting
Do
that
that.
information to our engineer. I know, I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but I think,
Yeah, that plan is the first plan that went in, February 4th. We've changed, but that plan is the final change with the curved road, and there's no waiver required.
Correct. I've submitted a
that? I
plan.
think we should just.
So
go.
once Stephen has a chance to review it, and you get his comments, then you
Not there
can.
yet? All right.
I'm troubled by the kind of either or thing, because at the end of the day, to me, it's about what's the safest aspect of this. We're going to add perhaps 30 units if the stars align. And what's the safest plan that we're going to look at, in its totality, and because there are some legacy issues with Hoyt Farm Road. Our fault, their fault, nobody's fault, doesn't really matter, And I am also a member of the Conservation Commission. I'm somewhat troubled about the filling in of wetlands, and that's not going to be a layup, with this submitted plan right now. So, I mean, I got to tell you, I'm liking more the original plan with the attempt to fix Hoyt Farm Road. I think that ends up with a safer aspect. With all due respect to Dan Garlington, I'm less troubled, quite frankly, from a variance perspective, or a waiver, excuse me, you used the right term, waiver perspective from the original plan as submitted. Because I think I could get there with spirit and intent. Personally, I'm just giving you my insight. So,
I mean, like when we did the, Karen, then I'll.
I just think that when those, I don't know who the guy is that worked with you and Dan Keach, who was the other guy? That worked with you on this plan, that first plan? I mean, that plan with the,
No one, not from my office. It was me.
it was just you then?
Yeah, I'm the
Okay.
only one who's worked on this. I mean,
Okay,
you've heard the name Jeff Quirk before. He
Yep.
lives over here. He retired, and I have Keith
Okay.
Coviello working in his job now.
okay, all right. Because your suggestion there, it makes sense. And like I said, Dan Garlington does have a say. I would hope so. I mean, he's known pretty much the town and the roads all his life. I just don't see going back to the, what do I want to say?
Original geometry.
Yeah, I don't. And I think that's what we will be doing.
Well,
That's why.
again, I think, a couple of things. I've been in this is my 42nd year in this business, right? And I've worked on both sides of the table, and I've been a planning board member. One thing is true, is it's the applicant's burden to advance a proposal for you to consider as a board. Right? I appreciate the flexibility and the options that Al is bringing forward, and I would hope you would as well. But I think tonight, you're giving some input that he needs to take away what he's hearing from you and devise a plan that he feels is the best balance of what you're telling him with what works and what may not work, and the realities of his position as the developer that may be completely unrelated to everything we've talked about tonight. He's buying this land, he doesn't own it. He's negotiating as he goes, right? So there's a lot of balls in the air there, but at the end of the day, Al, as any other applicant would, needs to advance a single proposal to your board. If it requires waivers, well, you can act on those waivers. You can consider them. but we don't know what it's going to look like.
Mhm.
And we know there was one proposal that was the initial application, and we pointed out that it required waivers from certain requirements of the subdivision regulations. And I will give Phil Christensen all the credit in the world for trying to make it work. But when I look at what I see in front of me now, and I know it can work and be safe and comply, I would have a really hard time concluding that the spirit and intent is satisfied through granting of a waiver when we know there's a readily available solution that doesn't require the same two waivers, right? So the option of realigning Hoyt Farm Road intersection with Forest is a great suggestion. I don't know what it's going to look like, and neither do you, right? So if Al and Phil want to explore that, we'll certainly consider it, won't we? Right? There's a lot of advantages to that. But it hasn't been proposed, right? It hasn't been drawn. So it can't be considered.
We need something a little more concrete.
Yeah, and I'm certain that that's going to have a wetland impact too, given
Right.
where the
You're gonna have the
wetland is
wetland
back
problem
to
no matter
be.
what.
So, it's like I've said to other applicants, I've said to my own clients, be careful what you ask for because you might get it, right? In this particular case, I'll ask for something because you might get it, right? But be careful in making that request because when it's approved, it's approved.
Well, Dan, I apologize for the either or. It's a third party that I'm dealing with. I
understand, so don't.
I'm not trying to strong arm any of the board members.
I think
It's what
Dan
I'm
understands.
facing. I think the benefits of having Hoyt Farm Road and Forest Street realigned and only giving up 25 degrees on a waiver on a Coles Way to Hoyt Farm Road, where you obviously everybody here, all the board members saw last Saturday that you pull up to that intersection of Coles Way and Hoyt Farm Road in the plan that the original plan Phil decided, and you see 300 feet in each direction. I mean, I don't know how much safer you can be. You can see all the way up the hill. You can see 500 feet. So I guess I'll try that. And I think I heard that board would be open to maybe asking their legal counsel if it's okay if they write a letter to the zoning board of appeals, letting them know they're in favor of the application and things like that. Then I'll try and do that. What I'm saying is I'll submit the plan that what I'm deciding, I guess I'm thinking out loud, is to submit a plan that requires a waiver and proposing the Hoyt Farm Road realignment.
Okay.
I would also offer one piece of assistance. I'd take a real hard look at the changes in the recent legislature as it relates to development and open spaces, because some things have changed, and not necessarily in a town's favor, if you will. So there may be elements there that you may not even, you may still have to go for a variance, but the elements may be different.
Correct.
Yeah, I actually did look.
And I forget the bill off the top of my head, but it was pretty aggressive from the state of New Hampshire's standpoint in permitting a little more room in the elbows, if you will, and to the use of perimeter spaces and all of that. So I'd take a look at it.
Yeah, I mean, we only need to find 18,000 square feet. So thank you. I did try and find some work on that, but I didn't come up with anything. So I'll look at that again, maybe talk to an attorney.
Anyone else on the board have specific questions or anything? All right. I'm going to open it up to the public. Maybe if anyone from the public wants to speak on one of these or both these applications, I would just ask that you come up to the microphone, your name, your address, and have your say.
Then go, you go first. No, you go, you're the abutter. I'm speaking off the cuff. What do you think I'm doing? I'll go first.
Okay. It's a Toastmaster drill here.
I'm Anastasia Sheehan. I live at 8 Hoyt Farm Road. I don't have anything prepared to talk about tonight. I didn't see this information on the website or anything, so I haven't read it. Tried to follow along. I'm not an engineer, not even remotely close to an engineer. Just trying to recognize and really take in the information, specifically what you were saying about that line of sight and how cars are going to come in. I live on Hoyt Farm Road. As you mentioned, it's not the people that live there, it's all the delivery trucks and all the additional traffic. To be honest, I think people are going to blow through that stop sign. I know we can't control that, but just in seeing how drivers come up and down that road, geometry, sure, it sounds good in theory, but people are going to come and they're going to go right onto Hoyt and onto Forest Street, and I think vice versa. So I think that intersection either way, as safe as we can make it, is still going to be problematic. Again, that's my opinion. I have nothing to base it on other than I live on that road. In addition, I'm just trying to wrap my head around the proposals and what each one means, and trying to understand waivers and variances. And I guess as a resident, my hope would be the safest path forward. That's number one. There are kids on the road. They ride their bikes, they play, they do whatever. So my concern, number one, is just safety and safety of the road and protecting those that live on that road. So thank you.
All right. Thank you.
We
Anyone
agree,
else?
and that's what we're trying to do, right?
I think that's why we're all here, hopefully.
I'm Diana Huff. I live at 75 Forest Street, and whoever came up with that solution to fix the intersection at Forest and Hoyt Farm Road, I appreciate that. So thank you. So as I stated the last time I was up here, so I live on Forest. I've lived there since 2001. I ride my bike. I walk my dog, and I walk past that intersection just about every single day. And what I don't hear in this discussion at all is the people, the curve, the speeding, the pedestrians, plus the condition of the road. No one's talking about any of that. All you're talking about is radiuses and degrees and all this stuff. And I keep saying to my new pal here, I invite any of you to go for a walk with me on 4th Street from Hoyt Farm Road down to Harriman Road. You will see how bad this street is. Down at the gas pipeline, there are several levels of street. You can almost trip over the various levels of pavement. At Hoyt Farm Road, there's the curve, people are speeding around it. If I'm walking my dog, I have to cross over to the other side because the shoulder is so narrow. And then I'm zigzagging up and down Forest. So the other thing I'm not hearing any of that. And then the other thing is the delivery vehicles. I work from home. I see all of these delivery vehicles all day. It's Amazon, Federal Express, UPS, DoorDashes, Uber Eats. There's also a ton now of unmarked delivery vehicles, and they're all traveling up and down the street. I have anecdotal evidence that they're doing 40, 50 miles an hour around Autumn Circle because they're all in a hurry to get this stuff delivered. I had an Amazon driver almost run me over at an intersection because he was reading his phone. It's as I said the last time I was here, something has to be done. So I really appreciate that there's this proposed intersection, but I would also like to extend out this conversation to the areas east and west of the intersection, and what are we going to do about that to make it safer? Thank you.
Well, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but I saw like 2 or 3 vehicles pulled over on Forest Street in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I noticed the police presence has been stepped up, and even a state cruiser on Main Street patrolling for speed. So I think the last time we were here, the answer to her issue was the safety board and trying to figure out a way. Liz, you were working
Yeah,
on that.
we're going to have a highway and safety meeting on the 23rd at 10 a.m. And Charlene confirmed it's going to be here. And that's when we can address, you can talk about some of those concerns.
Well, like I said, I invite any of you to walk with me.
I've walked Forest Street because I live around there.
So is that June 23rd, you said?
Yes.
Okay, June
It's
23rd.
not easy, trust me. People tell me all the time they think I'm brave for walking on Forest Street.
No,
Walk
for,
with your dog, I see you every day.
Thank you.
again, as a planning board, we're considering this particular application, but our mandate also extends to the master plan, which covers transportation. All right, so anyone, again, if there's an application, you're being heard, and the information, the Board of Selectmen are aware of it, and it'll be transmitted, again, minutes of this meeting and such can be transmitted to the Highway Advisory Committee. All right, so it's a townwide issue, and, anytime, if there's an application, someone wants to say something about that, we don't have a problem hearing it, right? Anyone else from the public? No? All right.
So, Jay, what's the date of the next meeting?
The next planning board public hearing date would be July 15th.
I think we need to do an extension, don't we? Or have you grant us an extension?
Yeah, I'm going to get an extension. That's why I'm asking them what the dates.
All right, so
We're to ensure that Phil has enough time to prepare another plan.
Next Wednesday.
Jamie, somebody left? Next Wednesday, Phil? The cutoff date for the next meeting.
Next Wednesday, we'll talk to Jamie. I can have some.
I guess I'll figure it out. I'll extend again if I have to, but I'll extend to the next meeting, July
15th.
I thought we had a draft. Do we have a draft motion for that?
I don't think we need a motion, right? It's his call.
Right. Right, okay.
Unless, of course, you guys just want to approve me unconditionally tonight, whatever I want to do.
I don't think.
Shot is shot.
Legally noticing, I think it has to be written to the record.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be renoticed.
You got to respect your tenacity, Al. I mean,
And then the conditional use permit.
You think I'd be sick of fighting after 45 years?
All right, so let me see, this is PB-2605. We're going to continue PB-2605 to what, August?
No, July.
July, sorry.
August.
Yeah, we're going to continue August. No.
Don't wish the summer
July,
away.
which July?
15th.
All right, so PB-2605 will be continued until July 15th, right? And that'll be at 6:30 PM. That'll constitute the only notice that you received for this. The waiver request, do we need to approve that and then?
No, that's a
Continue it?
conditional
The
use permit.
conditional use permit request.
You got to extend that.
Or just move to continue that one, because that one's on its,
All
on a
right,
different
so
timeline.
we're going to continue PB-26 PB-2618 to July 15th, correct? 6:30 PM. And that'll constitute any notice, for the public. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I know. You know my number.
All right. Take a second to get reoriented here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you in.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
I see.
All right. All right, next on the agenda, PB 26-16, completeness of an application from Big Al Service LLC for review of a site plan that proposes adding 3 storage containers. The property is located at 22 Danville Road, tax map 30, lot 91, in the C1 zoning district. The property owner of record is Albert Reyna. The application is found to be complete. The planning board may immediately conduct a public hearing. All right. I move to accept the application for an amended site plan as noted in legal notice PB 20-16 for the property located at 22 Danville Road, tax map 30, lot 91 in the C1 zoning district is complete.
I'll second it.
Second, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nay, abstain? All right, 5-0-0. All right.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thomas Schomburg of SEC Associates, representing the applicant, Big Al Services, for the property at 22 Danville Road, tax map 30, lot 91 in the C1 district, as well as the Aquifer Protection Zone. This amended site plan application, PB 26-16, is to add 3 storage containers to the site. The site as is contains an existing trade use building. We were previously before the board for the change in use to facilitate the new owner's HVAC company. And the proposal before you tonight is to place 3 storage containers within the existing paved parking and the buildable envelope. These storage containers would be used to store larger HVAC components that don't require temperature regulation, such as piping, ductwork, boilers, or furnaces. No hazardous materials would be stored in them. We did receive the checklist from Shay sometime, I believe, last week, and did provide the revised set with a couple of minor modifications, all just minor plan note corrections. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
What exactly is going to be stored in them?
Yeah, so again, it's going to be like larger HVAC things that don't need temperature regulation. So primarily, it's going to be piping, ductwork, boilers, and furnaces. So it's no like coolant or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm looking at what the fire chief said. He was just asking what's stored in them. If there just be a list, so if something ever happens, the fire department knows exactly what's in there. That's all, say all pipes, boom, that's it.
Yeah.
Just so they assign.
Yeah.
Typically what you see is they're usually on the back door,
Back of it.
just a list of what's
Yeah,
in there.
just so they know what they're dealing with.
Weatherproof list.
Yeah, that can be done.
And I think we're using storage containers and storage trailers somewhat interchangeably, and they're different definitions. So they're both permitted, just a question of what, is this really a trailer versus a container?
Yes, these would have no wheels. They'd be
Okay.
just
Containers.
Yep.
Okay.
Side opening.
Okay.
Would it be like a Connex type, they load on a train or something like that? That type of Connex storage container or?
On that, I'm not sure. My extent of my knowledge is the size and that they open on the side and what's inside of them.
How big are they?
They're about 9 by 20.
Are they going to be staged
That's,
They're not going to be stacked, are they? Or are they?
No, they'd be staged lengthwise, yeah.
Okay.
Boo.
Almost like pods.
yeah, right.
9 by 20 is pretty small.
Right.
Just trying to visualize it.
And they're placed where they are primarily for when they receive orders so that, trucks can come in, loop around, and then deposit into the containers.
So they're not elevated.
No.
They're not going to match truck bed.
No,
Okay.
no.
And what are the hours you'd have to worry about somebody coming in with containers? To put stuff in them. Is it during normal business hours?
It would be, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Anything else for anyone?
That was, no, I
Dan?
wouldn't know.
No, we
Yeah.
I mean,
talked about this during the conceptual. Yeah. I mean, hazardous materials are prohibited under
Right.
the ordinance in any case, so, yeah,
That's why I asked.
so they won't be there, but. We should just make sure we use the word containers. Which I think you do. but-
I think I do.
Yep, it's
Yep.
in there. All right.
It's in there.
It's a conditional draft approval.
Storage containers.
I move to approve the application for an amended site plan as noted in the legal notice PB number 26-16 for the property located 22 Danville Road, tax map 30, lot 91 in the C1 zoning district with the following conditions. All applicable professional stamps shall be affixed to the final plan for recording. Storage containers must be placarded appropriately and meet any applicable fire codes. All conditions of approval shall be met and final plans for recording submitted to the planning department within 45 days.
a second.
Can I just add one thing? To them, I would just say, including placarded appropriately to include all contents. Because I don't
Okay,
know
yeah,
what.
that's fine. You
Yeah,
can add that.
I don't know what placarded appropriately means.
Yeah. Yeah, we can add that to it.
Must be placarded to what, Dan?
Appropriately to include
Really,
all contents, to list all contents.
Contents.
All contents?
All contents.
Also.
All right.
The whole idea with that requirement or that standard is there's no guessing,
Right.
A 9 by 20, 180 square feet trailer could have,
Can't see that. Right.
75 feet of equipment in a
Anything.
5-gallon gas can, you
Yep.
know? I mean,
I'll second it and Dan can continue the discussion.
okay. Oh, he's asking me a question. I was answering.
Yeah, well, I
Isn't
didn't
that
know.
part of the discussion? But, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's the
I'm
motion.
sorry.
Right. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 500.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
great night.
Thank you. All that is it.
You're not supposed to store gas in containers.
All right. All right, next on the agenda, we have a conceptual consultation by Hannah International Foods, 132 Plastow Road, tax map 29, lot 3.
Get that one. Which one was that?
What's it?
Which one was that?
Conceptual.
I know, I didn't see if I have that.
They do something with that building.
Hannah Industrial Foods.
They
Yes.
do something with that building. Empty for a long time.
It's sort of hard to read, I guess.
Weren't they here before with us?
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jerry Grondin with Allen Major Associates here representing Hannah Foods for the 132 Plastow Road development tax map 29, lot 2 and 3. So we had got this project previously approved October in 2024. We're here to propose an amendment to the approved plans. The previously approved plans proposed a 4,050 square foot addition. We're coming in here today to propose a 2,300 square foot addition off the south side of the existing building and reutilizing the existing loading dock. So we're just going to sort of reorient the parking, add an addition on the south face, add some more egress, and then there's going to be a pickup window on the east side of the building along Plastow Road to service the bagel shop. So the three uses are the same that were previously approved. It's a wholesale, retail, Mediterranean cafe, and a bagel shop. We're proposing septic upgrades for this development as well to sustain the additional uses and employees. So I wanted to open it up to any questions you guys had.
Did you say you were reducing it from 4,000 to about 2,000?
Yeah, 4,050 was the previous proposal, and now we're at 2,300. So it used to bump out to the west too, with sort of redesigned the loading area and whatnot. I remember you can see sort of the darker area. Mike had prepared this plan here. But this darker area was this truck turnaround that we had where you're backing into a loading dock that was proposed here.
Yep.
And this was the proposed face of the building, but the red now, it's hard to delineate, but the red is this addition. So this is all we're proposing here is this red. The curb alignment's pretty much staying the same, coming in off Plastow Road.
Right.
Egress here, parking, and then maintaining this existing concrete apron and loading area. So we're sort of simplifying the layout. We're just adding an addition to the south face of the existing building. The existing buildings to remain. I think you guys had the architecturals and whatnot for the previous approval, but it's definitely going to clean up the site a lot and be more aesthetically pleasing. We're proposing landscaping and sort of trying to reutilize this property and bring some more life to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's vacant to date, so.
Okay.
Oh, very good. Dan, very good.
So
When you're talking about the septic upgrades, what's driving that?
So the flow, so we're adding more intensive uses than what's previously the existing septic's designed for. So I think it's the previous approval was 900 gallons per day, and we're pretty much proposing around 2,100 in the proposed condition with the three uses. That includes employee counts and whatnot that we've gotten from our client for the building program.
That's basically driven by the increase in the restaurant use.
Yeah, restaurant uses, seats,
Yeah.
employees.
But, hours of operation, same?
Same as previously approved.
Okay. All right, so,
It's the three same uses. It's just the more intense
Expanded more.
program.
all right.
And parking's in conformance. There's a couple waivers regarding the landscape buffers that were previously approved as well, that we're still going to be coming in and requesting. But other than that, we're going to be working with the DOT to amend the previously approved curb cut
Okay.
permit with the DOT. So
And you have to go to NHDES for the septic.
correct. Yeah.
Does that impact your well at all? Well, now you're on town water. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's right there.
Sorry, I lapse into the past.
No, we all do.
I brought an easel with the old proposal and the new layout plan. It's easier to read. I don't know if you guys want that. I saw this and thought it might tell the story a little bit better. I'm covering for Mike, so.
Shay, do you see any obstacles or any concerns?
No.
None.
It seems, I mean, fairly similar to what was previously approved.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just be coming in for an amended site plan. It would be pretty
Really, that's all you
straightforward.
have to do. Right.
Yeah, I
That's the
don't,
goal.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't really see any struggle.
Nope.
Well, good luck. Appreciate your time.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
No,
Good night.
thank you.
Good night.
As well.
Hannah's Foods.
All right, next. Just make a note here. All right, next on the agenda, conceptual consultation for J&M, again, LLC. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. Yourself?
Good. Thank you for seeing us.
Yep.
My name's Josh Marquette, and I work for Frontier Development, who is the owner manager of this property on 1 Hilldale Avenue in Plastow. I guess I have a few facts about the property just for your own information that we put together, so I'll read that briefly.
Yep.
A list of abutters. There are no residential abutters. To the north, it's the New Hampshire DOT Route 121. To the east, it's the railroad. To the south, it's the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And to the west, it's the town of Atkinson. So we have owned and developed this property for 50 years, roughly. And during this time, we've never had a serious safety issue, police, fire, etc. Over the last 50 years, we have paid over $500,000 in property taxes. We have located a fire hydrant that is supplied by the city of Haverhill on Hilldale Avenue that is adjacent to Plastow. And we have spoken with the town of Haverhill, the city of Haverhill, and they have given us the verbal confirmation that they would be amenable to supplying us with water and sewer.
Really?
Yes. Now, whether that happens or not, but
That was pretty good.
Maybe you can give them our names.
Yeah, right.
So leave a card on the way out. So we can have introductions.
right. So yeah, I mean, in summary, we don't use a lot of the town's resources. We have no impact on the town roads, and we pay a good amount of taxes, which we anticipate will increase as obviously over time. You know, the reason we're here today is because it was brought to my attention, our attention, that we were parking vehicles on the property without the blessing of the board. And so I've been working with Mr. John Lazowski, the inspector that is, I guess, subcontracted by the town of Plastow to help remedy this.
What's the name of the inspector?
John Lazowski. So, you know, over the last number of months and I guess year, we've been cleaning up the site from a cosmetic standpoint, but I've also gotten rid of 75% of the outdoor tenants that were parking there, you know, to help, you know, take care of this problem. that,
Now, the problem that was brought up.
Yes.
Is it a question that you were using it in his opinion as a contractor's yard?
he didn't specifically say that. He just said that the parking was not allowed on the property because it was the site plan that is with the town of Plastow that is approved is from 1995. And it didn't have those areas approved for outdoor parking.
Okay.
I have a copy of the plan here. I'm happy to submit it. Just if you need a visual.
No, I mean, it's what the.
Yeah, it's.
What do you want to use it as? You want to park construction equipment?
I would like to, so the tenants that I have removed are
Good.
mostly like small contractors. So I have a tree removal service. He's one guy with 2 trucks, a Bobcat, and a chip machine. I had to get rid of him. I had a mason who stored a truck, a lift, and some wooden and metal forms. Neat and things, but I got rid of him.
Yeah, I'm just asking because I'll just tell you, you're sitting in the industrial district.
Correct.
You're off there on the corner of essentially from Plastow stands as far as you can get away from Plastow. And to me, it was simple as if you had a use that's permitted, which a contractor's storage yard is.
Correct.
Okay. That includes the storage of construction equipment, which has got a fairly broad definition in our zoning ordinance. To me, it's a simple request. Can I have a change of use?
Okay. Well, that's what we're here to do. I've never done this before, and
no,
Shay recommended I do this. We do this first. We have hired an engineer. I haven't introduced him, but Bruce Scammon is here.
And you know, in the staff report, and exterior storage of materials includes, you know, that's a defined term.
Yes.
In our ordinance is if the intent is to do that.
That's it.
That's a simple.
Simple.
Are you going to make any physical changes to the site?
So that's what brought us here. You know, they've got this ball rolling, but we have a 17,500 square foot foundation on the site. It was put up 20, 30 years ago. I'm not sure, before my time, but it made sense to us to revisit that here. The MBTA has taken our land up there, as you probably guys are aware, and a lot of other people's. And I think it's a great place.
You're not the only one that can take it.
I know. And this just feels like a really good time to invest in that property more, and we want to put a building on that foundation. So that is also what Bruce is going to be helping us with, and what our plan is. I was hoping, you know, considering the work that we've done and over the last, 6 months, year, I was hoping to sort of have a little bit of help regarding while I work with Bruce and while I work with the town and get the site plan together and everything. I was hoping to get a little bit of a blessing from you guys to let us continue with some of the vehicles and maybe contractors that are there now. As long as I keep, working with you and Bruce, of course,
What's the use of the site now?
So there's a building there that's about 40,000 square feet, and there are tenants there's an Auto Part International, for instance. They barely use any parking.
Yeah.
They take up about half the building. Then there's a diesel truck repair guy. He's maybe a quarter of the building. And then there's a hardwood flooring warehouse. And they barely, and that's what they do. They store and deliver hardwood flooring.
So I'm struggling I'm struggling with the fact that we've got uses that are permitted.
Sure.
You seem to be using those uses as permitted in the district. You have other uses that seem to be permitted in the district. I'm just struggling. I mean, I get it with trying to use the building and, I'm just struggling why. I mean, we can't bless
Okay.
you know, your use other than is
It's
we have a
permitted.
site plan in front of us. Okay? So I'm just struggling as to why enforcement's like
That's my
giving you a hard time. You know, because I don't see that.
Well, we felt the same way.
me.
We've had multiple meetings. Go ahead.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
It seems very conforming to me.
Right.
So I guess, Bruce Gammon, for the record, I own a James Varon Associates, it's a survey company and Emmanuel Engineering, both in Portsmouth and Candia, New Hampshire. The company has reached out to me, Josh and Jack, have reached out to me to do an existing condition survey so that we can put on record with the board what their operations entail. There is a foundation that was on the approved site plan from 1995 for a 17,000 square foot addition. They put that in, back, in that time frame. They'd like to try to build that building as well. So they're just wanting to get a little direction on, we have an approved site plan. Can we finish developing that and then maybe just show the gravel areas that are already there, doing laydown and storage and parking, so that we get everybody on board for an existing site that's
It sounds like
operating.
you're looking to just sort of amend the site
Right,
plan.
right.
And you would just go through the normal process of doing that.
Yeah.
I guess my only, if I were to say, if you're saying that you wanted to have like memorialize a contractor's yard, I mean, there'd probably be concerns about, the nature of the surface and things like that you'd be parking stuff on, right? If it's going to be like, an impervious surface or
Landscaping?
some sort of ground up material of some kind, repurposed material.
That's what's there now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, so there'd be that sort of considerations,
But no, that's
but that's,
not what we're hearing. We're
Right.
hearing it's a use issue, and that's what I'm like. I mean, what was
I mean, if you had a
site plan
contract.
from '95?
I have it if you'd like to see it. but-
What was the permitted? No, you can just tell me. What was the use for that?
There was a paved area there's a paved area that,
Parking and
for parking and that, and, I mean, I don't know,
Expanded the building.
snow removal area,
there's a leach field.
There is a leach field that's still there and active.
But
and
that plan was part of something that you were using it for. So what's
This,
usually on the plan? There's in
I think it's just parking.
upper left, the top
So-
right hand column.
It says site use, industrial.
It'll say zone. It'll say zoning. Use. Yeah.
this may have been around the time that this, New Hampshire took some of the land and built that bridge. I don't know what year that was.
121.
Does that have anything to do with this? I mean,
No.
and so
Well,
maybe
it
that,
affected the site, and that's what they're, I mean, it wasn't a site plan approval process, but it talks about site use industrial. Change of use requires review and approval by the planning board. So
Right.
I think what we're trying to say is, we'd like to do an as-built site plan
Yeah.
showing the existence of the gravel and reclaimed areas where they do parking today, show the existing foundation, and show that they could build a building as per the original approved site plan, and come back and, because they're really not looking to grade or do a lot of changes to the site. So that's why I think that's,
with every use you want to come back with the request list
Yeah.
for the permitted uses that you would like
So-
to use on that site.
I guess,
That's really what you're looking.
You're gonna have to
Yeah.
list.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, so if the question is like a contractor's yard, you would
Right.
say you want a contractor's yard.
Contractors, yeah.
yeah.
Permitted in the industrial.
yeah, which is existing today. So I guess the question becomes is, what is the board going to be looking for drainage or any other types of systems when we're not going to be changing the surfaces that the way they are and they've been for many years, if not decades,
Correct.
like it is out there today. It's not as if my understanding that they've done a lot of changes.
Once you start putting equipment really on the property, okay, and you have, so, is you're going to need things like an oil catchment basin or, because you're going to get leakage and stuff. So that starts to get into like drainage, you know.
That's why I'm.
But that's where I'd be thinking of, like, one thing I would definitely think of. You know, how are you going to contain whatever's there from going someplace where it shouldn't?
Yeah.
And you've got the river that runs right there, you know? So.
Well, that's what the big question tonight is. They have an operation, and one of the concerns is what they were getting from the town was you need to get everybody off, and they don't want to put the small companies that are working there today out of business because they can't find another place to go. And that's what they're hoping, that they can sort of get the blessing of, we're going to actively work with you. And do they have to really remove anybody off site more than they already have? Because like Josh said, is they've already had like 75% of the people removed off the site to try to come into compliance.
How long has this been going on?
A year? Is that what you said? 6 months to a year?
I don't know how long, but yeah, it's been a year.
Why don't you come to us sooner?
Yeah, that's a good question. It was hard to find an engineer for a while, you know, stuff kind of, we should have. The answer is, I think we should have.
Well,
They signed a contract with me yesterday. Well, I met them 3 weeks ago, and we've been trying to move this forward. We started the survey process as soon as we get the contract signed, so that we're hoping to have people out there on site to get an as-built starting this week. So they have actively worked towards trying to come in compliance with the powers that be within the town.
We've had 2 meetings with the town, informal in this room, over this period, and trying to work with them. You know, we kind of thought we were making progress, but they kept.
Who were you meeting with? Just curious.
The town.
Voss. Shay was at one of the meetings, the most recent one, but not both. There was a couple other people, and then John Lazowski was also at both. He was the man who originally came to us.
So this was being done through the building department, is what I'm hearing?
I suppose so. Is Dee with the building department?
She was. I don't know. I don't know what role she is in now.
Okay.
She's still around, but we don't know why.
So she was.
I was I was unaware of it. I'm just trying to figure out.
And so let me just narrow it out. So was any concern conveyed as to any danger with respect to the equipment? Any environmental concerns with respect to the equipment?
The only issue at hand was always, this is a change of use. You need to get permission from the planning. That was it.
Which is a requirement.
Which is totally legit. But everything I looked up was by right, you can do this and that. But yes, you're right. And again, when we met with them on these occasions, certainly the first time, we kind of left with the feeling that, like, we'll take care of this guy who was a bit of a mess. You know, the mason was a little unsightly, but not, you know, and if we got rid of these guys, the worst offenders, let's say, we kind of felt like we were going to be in good shape, and it just wasn't that way. So it was a little bit.
So, I mean, does it remedy it if you change the use to allow for a contractor's yard? Does that satisfy sort of the enforcement side of things, Shay? Like, if suddenly this was you amend the change of use.
Going to be that they're building.
I mean, if
have a contractor's
if
yard.
contractor's yard is part of what they want, then I would definitely have that included. If there's other things like trade businesses, like whatever businesses are also operating on that property besides just the storage of materials, need to be included in that amended site plan.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that, is there a way, I mean, it sounds like there are a couple of things here. One, that you need to update the uses that you have on the site. And then you're also talking about going forward and sort of building out things and adding.
Right.
Right. Does does changing or amending the uses put them into compliance with the enforcement side of things before they move forward with building out the site? I guess that's the question. Meaning, if they have a contractor's yard, does that satisfy people saying, okay, now you have a contractor's yard?
If that's the only use on the property,
Or fill it out, it's same logic. Whatever the use is that you look at.
whatever the use is.
But wasn't the original site plan approved for at least like trade businesses, right?
It just says industrial on it.
That's a broad spectrum that I think most of that falls on.
Yeah, I mean.
1995.
To offer enforcement on something that says industrial.
Yeah, it just seems to me to be.
So I
guess that's what I'm saying. Is it a question of just that this is the 1995 site plan that's
They want it
maybe
updated.
not as
Just want it updated.
So
compliant as it is today?
I haven't been heavily involved in the compliance case. It started before I came on board. I came to this last meeting to explain the amended site plan process, coming in, having a conceptual with the planning board. There were 2 violations that were submitted, which talk about outdoor storage uses and operations on the property that are not shown on the approved site plan, including parking of vehicles, equipment and material storage on the property, which are outside the designated areas of the site plan. It talks about the plan needing to include the operation of the tree service company and automobile carrier company, which were operating on the property. And then the other one, I think, is specific to parking and vehicles on the property mostly.
So you
got rid
have
of the
you have all
vehicles.
you have all that information, right? I mean, in terms
Yes,
of like
the violations, yes.
yeah. So I mean, is it a question of like, can you amend the site plan relatively quickly?
That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
as soon as humanly possible. I guess our question is, one of the questions regarding the parking and everything is it something that you guys would be amenable to? And what sort of direction, I mean, is there stuff that you're going to ask? Like, I know when you build a building,
Yeah.
there's a lot more complicated things to discuss, but is it as simple as bringing you an approved, a different site plan that tells you where we want to do, and you guys look at it and say, this is allowed by right, I think you're okay? Or is it going to be like, you got to do X, Y, and Z as well? Like,
you're going to go through the site plan process, and there'll be that back and forth about.
It'll be depending on what you're asking for.
Right.
You know, I mean, if it's a simple, hey, we just want to fix the change of use, that's more straightforward. And there will be questions as it relates to those changes of uses, you know, because there are. But if that's more straightforward, given that you want to, you know, construct a building on the footprint, you know, that becomes different things. And then you're into, you know, more engineering, drainage, septic, all of that.
and I'm excited to get into that because I've never done that. I'm really excited about that project. But I do see it as 2 separate issues and one that feels hopefully simpler than the next.
I guess the question I have is if we put in a simple one first, you know, say in a month, whenever, I want to go do the existing conditions so that you have really what's out there. If we put that in with just a change of use and list out the people that are going to be out there on site that you're renting to,
right,
without any real changes, could that be a quick process? And then we came back to do the building at a second phase, just so that we can get the whole violation stuff cleared up. I'm just trying to, I mean, I think it'll cost them.
I think that's what my question was. You know, is there a way for them to update something so that it satisfies the enforcement, and then in the natural flow of things, if you want to then come back and amend. And
I'm telling you, I mean, you're looking at the industrial district.
Just about
There's
anything.
a lot that's permitted there.
That's
so
right.
I'm struggling, you know, but I think the simplest way and the way we could probably help the applicant solve this problem is to do exactly that. Put together an
Two-step
existing
process.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on board.
Okay. No, I just
give you a little breathing room, you know.
Yeah.
and give everybody in the town, you know, the building department satisfaction too. That you guys are all on board.
Yeah, and
so
we're
that-
not here to overwhelm what the building department's doing.
Yeah, no, but
You can come
You
to
know,
us.
seems
make
to
it
be-
legal, and so that these other contractors don't have to leave the site. And
Exactly.
Right.
And that would be in front of everyone here as well?
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, I plan on saying exterior storage and contractor storage yard, something like that. Is that like a sufficient thing to put on the site?
Depends what you're storing.
Yeah, you gotta
Depends
list
what you're storing.
Put it this way, if I were you, I would sit down and look at all the uses that are permitted.
That's what I did.
List them all.
Just make sure that what you want to do, you
Right
put them
there.
on the sidewalk.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
So if it's trade business, that you've got things that qualify for trade business, that's a permitted use, you know?
If I say the tree guy is going to go here, but the tree guy says, I can't stick around and wait for you, I got to go somewhere else, then there's no tree guy. So I guess like, I don't want to get into like a
What you don't, again, is the ordinance is your guidebook and these terms are defined in there as to what they are. Follow the terms.
Okay.
what I'm hearing is we don't have to get to the specificity of it's a tree guy, it's a trades guy.
Correct.
Trade businesses
Right.
will be able to have equipment, outdoor storage, and their vehicles in this area. And we'll show,
Blocked off
a
area.
shadowed area, that this whole area outside storage.
In all honesty, guys, the reason the town created these industrial districts was
So you could do-
essentially to
Right.
house these types of things.
These businesses have to go someplace.
Bingo.
And if not, they're going to be in their own backyards in everyone's neighborhood.
Actually, I personally feel bad that you had to keep off there now. I personally don't think it should have got to that level, and I think
Right.
it should have
I agree.
Well,
been directed here prior to
it's
this.
part of this is on me for letting it get out of hand, I guess. I should have done this sooner. So I'll take some onus on that, but I appreciate you saying.
Well, you're here now and you got to play
Right.
Forward.
a way to move
Now
forward.
you can
We
move forward.
appreciate, everybody's honest feedback and
Yeah.
we'll try to work with you guys to get this done as quickly as we can
No,
and
that sounds
work with
good.
you.
Yeah, we're
We
on it.
really appreciate all your time.
And about that sewer with Haverhill.
That's what I was told.
Don't forget you have
We'll have a
friends on the
stub up
planning
to
board.
121.
All right.
It's like going down Main Street.
Please. Have a good
All right,
night.
thank you.
Good luck, all right?
Thank you.
Appreciate
Good
it.
luck.
See you soon.
I want to see you soon.
That's
All right,
what you can do
we'll,
with industrial.
Just kind of move pretty quick here. Is there anything old business wise we have? I think we had a full night,
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
Anyone have anything else? Shay, last word?
Oh, what about
Yep.
the,
It's the last sheet of paper that's in your packets. We got
The
an
letter.
application submitted for a conceptual consultation. Due to scheduling conflicts, they're requesting to come in for July 1st.
that was my question.
So my,
Are we going to have a,
my suggestion would be that we don't have a lot going on, and I was going to suggest
Day off.
we nix July 1st.
I agree. I agree. We've always
Is that
done this.
celebrating all
We've always
early?
done it
Standing
near the
ovation on
4th.
that one?
We've always done it near the 4th. Always took the
So-
first week.
We don't have a lot going on.
Is there a consensus on the board for that?
So, sorry.
I'm probably not going anywhere either.
That's fine. I can communicate to them that they'll be coming in on the 15th.
I think, yeah, we could do that.
So hopefully that works for them.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have a quorum on the
I
first.
think stylistically going forward, we really should limit applicants coming in on our working meeting. I mean,
Right.
unless there's some like emergency press and we're trying to get everything done or knock it off. I think we've been, because every time, it seems to me, not every time, but the vast majority of the times we consent, it gets moved anyway. So what's the point of,
So what are you saying? You want to have it on the
Stick to
July
homework.
1st? Next day, July 1st.
nix the hearing applications on our working meetings?
Okay.
Just a thought.
Yeah, you might have to use them. You might have to use them.
Well, we conduct business by, we can waive anything, in our bylaws and policies, I mean, we're consenting to have come, but I'll have to read, I think our policy says that we only hear applications on that second meeting, right?
Yeah, so what I have on the deadline schedule says that all public hearings are scheduled for the third Wednesday.
Right.
Because again, applications have to be 21 days prior. But it says that those seeking to be on a work session first Wednesday agenda for matters that do not require legal notice, please contact the department. And so I've been bringing all those requests straight to the board.
Right.
I don't know if there's anything otherwise that we have procedurally.
Yeah,
But I know that's
I don't recall anything, yeah.
All right, well, we can revisit that procedure. So July 1st
Well,
is out.
again, not even a
Never
procedure.
know.
We could just decide that, hey, the bar here has to be a little bit higher before we do something like that.
I think we should come in July and talk about the procedure for now.
All right, on that note, I'm going to close this meeting at 8:27. All right, thank you.
I think that's
Okay.
industrial thing.